Hello everyone, and welcome back to Mudlick Creek Garage. In this video, we're going to answer the question, should you buy a used CFMoto Z-Force? If so, what are the things to look for, and what are the things that are going to shy you away from this machine? So let's begin. So here we have my 2016 CFMoto Z-Force 800 Trail. I think it's just called an 800, but it's a trail. It's 50 inches wide. So this machine I purchased in non-running condition from a local guy. Overall, I have approximately $4,000 into it, and it's a good running, riding side by side. So I should be either able to ride this or sell it or whatever I decide to do with it, as I still have my Razor. So things to look for when buying these things. Let's just start with the basics. You know, bushings, bearings, anything that moves. So you're going to want to start by going around the machine and just shaking the tires. And when you shake the tires, you're going to look for your A-arm bushings, your shock bushings, anything like that. You're going to look for any sort of movement you can detect. And that kind of movement is going to show that there's something starting to go bad on the machine. Another thing to look for scuffs and scrapes. That tells you the machine's either A, been ridden hard, or B, has been put on its side at some point. If you notice here, there's some scuffs and scrapes, and there's no decals on this panel. And if we run over to the other side, you'll see there's a decal here, a couple scuffs and scrapes as well. But that's going to tell us that this machine has either had some damage on the other side, or the decal came off and it got scuffed on a tree branch, something of that nature. Next thing you're going to take a look at is the features. So this machine has a roof and a windshield, and that stuff, although not adding value to the machine, is going to increase its sellability. So this machine has a winch. It does not work, and the windshield in this machine was cracked. So all we did is we just turned it into a half, more like a third windshield, just to keep the bugs and stuff out of your face. Other things to look at. You're going to look at the plastics and inspect them for signs of sun fading. So everything on this machine actually looks pretty good. This here, that's not even SC1. That's just, you know, how it looks. So that's telling us this machine probably has had a life that lived at least under a lean-to or something, because you come back here to the seats and all these inserts are traditionally red, and they faded down to like a white. So that tells you that the seats at least have seen some sort of sun. So let's move on to some more hard parts. All right, so next thing we're going to inspect is the engine area. So you're going to want to pull off your airbox cover if possible. Take a look at the air filter, see if it's had a rough life, if it's new, ever been replaced. If you see it and it looks like it's been through, you know, the dusty trail for the last couple thousand miles and nobody's even looked at it, you're definitely going to want to take into account the fact that the engine could need a top end, or worst case, a bottom end. Next thing you're going to look at is the condition of the aluminum cases. So you'll see on this machine, they are a little dull, a little mud stained, but they're not absolutely obliterated. That tells you that although this machine has been dirty, somebody cared about it enough to at least wash it. That normally tells you that the machine's, you know, at least had a little bit of care for it in its life. The next thing I like to do, after I've done a basic once over of the entire machine, I like to go around and check all the fluid levels. So take a look in the radiator, make sure stuff's green and it's not empty. You know, make sure your overflow bottle's at the correct fill level. Come back here. The Z-Forces are a pain to check the oil, but it is stuck back underneath there, your oil dipstick. Make sure that's all good to go. And while you're walking around the machine and checking all these things, keep your eyes out for for goofy electrical stuff. So this machine on it has had the solenoid replaced with some sort of aftermarket, and it's just kind of zip tied onto the bracket, and the connections aren't the greatest, and it's also had the battery relocated. So things like that, although they shouldn't turn you off of the machine, they should make you weary and make you want to take a better look at everything in its entirety. Now that we know the fluid levels are good, none of the bushings are absolutely destroyed, or maybe if they are, you're aware of the situation, and there's no glaring electrical issues that are going to burn the machine down as soon as you start it, start the machine and listen to the engine. So let's get it started. Now we're going to come back in and talk about the final and the most important step. Do your research. Know what you're going to look at. There's companies out there such as KBB and NADA that are going to tell you the value of the machine, the high retail, the low retail, the average retail. And those right there, that's going to help you negotiate. So this machine, high retail, says $9,500. In my opinion, unless it's coming from a dealer brand new, this machine is worth nowhere near that. That's a pipe dream as far as I'm concerned. But low retail on this machine is going to be $4,900. So an average retail on this machine is going to be about $6,500. So coming into that, you need to know what you expect to pay for the machine, and then take all the issues you've seen, compile a list of the prices of what you may need. Bushings, you can normally expect for every set of bushings that's bad, call it $50, because that's about the price of an OEM set. Stuff like a potential engine rebuild, that can vary. This machine's fairly cheap. Doing an engine rebuild on this machine, top end is around $300. But some machines, such as like a Razor or something of that nature, you can be talking upwards of $600, $700, $1,000 for good OEM or high quality aftermarket components. So all that taken into account, just make the decision. Is this a machine for you? Is it a fixer-upper and you have the ability to fix it, or know somebody that can fix it and you won't be upside down in it? The power sports market is a very hot place right now, and as buyers, we all need to be responsible and not overpaying and getting ourselves in trouble. So if you liked what you've seen, please hit subscribe, like the video. Thank you all for watching Mudlick Creek Garage.